you for checking out this tutorial brought to you from Backfist Customs Glitter. I'm Nicole, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the pen mold and make a pen like this one. So for this tutorial, you're going to need the pen mold. I'm using these two today. They remind me of little boats. You're going to need the ink cartridges. Make sure you leave the little balls on the end. A pipette and your glitter. I'm going to be using Halloween and Kona. I am ready for fall, so I thought, why not just make some really cool fall inspired pens. So I'm going to get my 2-part epoxy resin mixed up and let's get to it. Okay guys, I've got my resin all mixed up and my glitter mixed in, and it's been sitting for just a minute and all the bubbles have rose to the top. So I'm just going to take my lighter. I use like a barbecue lighter and I use the really long ones. I'm just going to run it over the top in my cup. So as I said before, my secret weapon, once again, is a pipette. I know they might seem a little difficult to use in the beginning, but pipettes are really awesome and you can actually reuse them. I used this one earlier with some purple glitter, and I just take my metal stir stick, which is my favorite stir stick, and I just flatten it out and I scrape it all out the end. You can't reuse them very often, like not 5 or 6 times, but I get at least 2 or 3 good uses out of them. They are well worth the investment. So on the pens, you have your mold, and I mixed up total epoxy is 60 milliliters. I have about 30 in each cup here. And I don't remember exactly how much these take, but I'm sure it's plenty for this. So this is the best mold I can show you. Right down here is a little tab, so to speak. So you're going to put the end of your pen on that tab in there. So you put your pen in this end, hold it, and you're going to kind of bend it. And you're going to line the end of your pen up on that tab. And that, it's going to keep your pen in the middle of this mold. They're harder to see. This one's a little harder to see because it is all the way down in there. So you just stick your pen in the end and you kind of bend your little pin right here, and you got to get it, and you just look down the end and get it on that little tab. And you might have to do it a couple times to make sure it's on there. You just look down the end and you'll see the little tab if it's to the left or to the right if you missed it. So how I do mine is I'm going to fill the writing end first. So the part where you write with, that's the part I'm going to fill first. I'm actually going to use 2 pipettes. Just let it fill up. And I scrape the side right here. Kind of get that excess off. Excess. I'm hick, y'all. I'm not Southern, I'm hick. And I stick the pipette all the way down in here. And it's really hard to see on camera, but you are filling that end up. And that's how I get no bubbles. And I kind of hold it at a downward angle like this while I'm filling it up. Because if you tilt it back this way, you could introduce a bubble to it. So once you fill it up on that end, hold it that way. And get some more in your pipette. Okay, and I got a decent amount. I got more bubbles. Hold on. And if you see more bubbles rise to the top of your container, just go ahead and pop them. So while I'm tilting it, I'm going to pour very slowly. Kind of work its way up. And when it starts trying to pour out the other end, make it a little level. And then that's when you sit it flat. And you can see on this end right here, I don't have any glitter all the way to the end. So I take my pipette and I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. You want to make sure there's a good amount in your pipette, because you don't want to introduce an air bubble in there. There we go. Let's wipe off that excess right there. I'm just going to stick it in, and you can see through the little boat, so to speak. And I have an air bubble right here on this edge. So I'm just wiping off the excess. And push some resin down in there. And you can kind of just take your pipette, stick it in there. You just kind of work it in there. It don't matter if it goes on the edge at this moment. We're going to clean it back up. Alright, so you can take your metal stir stick or your popsicle stick. I clean that up real fast. And then I just get a little bit of resin on the end of the pipette. And I barely overfill it. I have another video where I show this and explain it a little bit more in depth. The bangle tutorial, this is how I get it where you don't have to sand the back edge. So you overfill it just a little. I'm not even putting it in the pipette, I'm just getting it on the end and just kind of dropping it on there. And then you're going to go back and make sure you keep this edge clean, because whatever's on the edge is going to stick to the back of your pen. Just take my ladder and go over the back. And then you're going to want to get eye level with your mold. Think about baking when you have to have it exactly. So you get eye level. You make sure that it's completely flush. You can also squeeze the ends like this if you think you have a bubble. But I am pretty sure I don't. But if you squeeze the ends like that, make sure you go back and you clean those edges up. Just like that. And I love my silicone mat because I can just wipe it off and pick it off later. It's a lot of fun to sit here and pick all the resin back off. So, like I said, I had 30 milliliters. And I have quite a bit of resin left. Like a lot of resin. But that's okay, because now you can get a fun mold, like a straw topper, and you can just fill it up real fast. Just like that. Just a piece of hair. And just set it off to the side, and you have a little extra to send in your packages, or you can sell them. I sell my straw toppers with the glitter straws that are on the site. People go crazy over the straw topper with the glittered straw. So on this one right here, this is the easiest one to fill because it only has that one little lip. And this one is chunky glitter. Kona was kind of like a medium. It wasn't fine. Yes, and I'm restirring this with the pipette. But it wasn't chunky. Halloween is a straight up chunky mix. But it just gives me all the vibes. Halloween, I think, was in a subscription box. And chunky glitter is a little bit harder to get up in the pipette. Sometimes I cut the end of my pipettes off just to make it go in a little bit easier. Especially this chunky glitter. And if you get it up here and you got a bunch of air down there, you can just kind of squeeze it out till you get to the bottom. And just use it like that. I had another pipette that was already cut, and I think it rolled away on me. We're getting there. And stick that pipette all the way down the little boat, I call it. And you can see through your little boat. You can kind of see and make sure that it's all the way down in there. You can take your pipette. If you're not sure, stick it down in there and make sure. Like, you can feel where the pipette ends. So there, it's filled on the end and no bubbles. So again, I'm just going to hold it at an angle. Kind of fill it. Okay. Set it down. This one I can pour from the cup. The other one I use the pipette to kind of get it overfilled a little bit. This one's a little easier because you can see a little bit better because the boat doesn't go all the way. Doesn't cover. Now you're just going to get eye level and make sure that it is smooth and flat. And you're just going to take your lighter and go over the edge. Go over this one again. Make sure you're careful on your molds with your lighter, you guys. You can fuse the mold and the resin together from too much heat. no molds can withstand like the camping gas torches or the butane torches. The only ones that can are the baking molds, and they are a very specific like maroon color. But I don't recommend using a torch at all on molds, just because you're going to get in the habit of using it on specific molds, and then you're going to forget, and then you're going to do what I did and use a torch on a custom mold that was very expensive, and there was a huge hole in the bottom of it when you got your final piece out. So these are going to cure for 12 to 24 hours depending on what your resin brand is, and then we're going to come back and demold them. So thank you so much for checking out the video this far. I can't wait to get back and demold these. Okay guys, it has been long enough that we can demold the pens that we made, our fall inspired glitter pens in the little boats that I call them. And you're just going to demold it the same way that you demold everything else. I tend to leave the pen in for last just because it's thinner and you don't want to break it. So I just pull on the end of the mold, make sure it's off, pull up, kind of wiggle it on out. This one was Kona, and it is so pretty. And it does have a flat side, but because we overfilled it, it's not sharp. But it is flat, and it sits there on your desk. So pretty. This one was Halloween, which I'm so excited to see. This one's very, very easy to get out because it doesn't have a lip on this side, so you just peel it off. Look at that. And I have a little bit of excess right there, and I can just cut that off with my X-Acto knife. And they are ready to go, you guys. It's giving me all the fall vibes right now.